right, so let's start with the unboxing. Let's get that out of the way. And we're gonna start with a package from AutoDude. My two most favorite things when it comes to cleaning a car. So we have this, which is called the Built Hamber. This is a touchless wash, highly, highly effective. I can really recommend this thing, and it is pretty cheap, and it foams up really good too. This is not sponsored or anything, by the way. The same company also makes a chemical called Corrosol, which is call it fly rust. Do you call it that? Fly rust remover? Fallout remover, that's right. I can highly recommend Built Hamber's touchless wash and their fallout remover. Just two amazing products, and this is, I mean, there's a lot in here. This is probably over a liter. It doesn't say, that's weird. Yeah, 1 liter. I mean, when you buy from some other company, not gonna mention any names, I mean, you get this tiny, tiny bottle and it's like 2 sprays and it's gone. You know, you get a lot of value for your money here. I think this is what can it be, 150 Swedish kronor, so 15 bucks. I think this is 30 bucks. So it's incredible value for your money. And along with that, you know, we got some, you know, you just can't buy some chemicals without buying some microfiber towels. So I got that as well. Anyway, that's a little bit from AutoDude. All right, so the next package is going to be from our sponsor, Speeding. And I have a little bit of goodies here for the T5 build. So what we got here is some fuel line, but we're gonna be using this for the turbo cooling in and out, and I think also the feed line. This is an AN5. So let's see, what is that internally? It's about 8. And that is roughly, well, we got about 10 millimeters there. So yeah, it'll be a tight little fit. But anyway, we got that for the cooling. And then we have this. This is oil return line, that's what it is. So this will be our oil return line. It is an AN10 steel woven. I'm a little bit hesitant. I don't really know if this inner hose, this plastic, it's PTFE hose in there. I don't know if that'll hold up to the immense heat that will be around the turbo. So we're gonna have like a short runoff from the turbo in steel. Like we're gonna use the stock turn line pipe, and then we're gonna weld an AN10 bung on there. So this will start a bit further away from the turbo. I did that on the 940 and I haven't had any issues. And I also decided to buy this, which is Hurricane's heat reflective tape. So hopefully we won't have any issues with that. All right, so next up we have, this is actually a wrench for AN fittings. It's made completely out of aluminum. It was quite expensive, but I see why now. It feels really good. Like, quality is just amazing. You can read the AN numbers here on the side. And there is another part to this, but it was currently out of stock, so I gotta wait a little bit. But it's a couple of clamps that you put into the vise. So you kind of put one piece in the vise and they tighten down with this wrench right here. Anyway, great thing to have if you're working a lot with AN fittings. I think we're gonna be dealing a lot with that in the future, so I think that's a great investment. Here we have the fuel rail. Do you really need to upgrade your fuel rail? No, not really. I'm doing this as a preventative measure for the future's sake, and it just feels like I just want to do this one right away. I don't want to wait. So we got to make our own brackets, unfortunately, but I'll see if I can't get that done next week. Look at it. Like, it immediately starts dropping these fiberglass, very sharp things. So when you're working with this thing on the engine, we're going to do that later, you want to wet this thing so that these fibers don't fly around. These, I mean, you don't want to get this in your lungs. Anyway, it's a little turbo hat. Hopefully, again, keep the heat down under the hood. It's gonna be fun to see how that works, how much we get the temperature down. And we also got a whole lot of AN fittings. And this is basically for oil in and out from the turbo and the cooling for the turbo, mainly. All right, so these next few things are from a company called Biltema. When you just want to grab something quickly, you gotta get shit done. You just go in there, you get whatever you need. It's kind of like Harbor Freight, maybe, in America. I don't know what to compare. It's like the cheaper option, okay? Quality, discussable. This is for the crankcase ventilations. We're gonna be putting that on there. We also got some of these. Yes, I do have a tendency to overthink things, and this is one of those moments. You know, I'm gonna run this heat shield over the hoses, all the hoses. You know, I can't use this, the standard hose clamp, because this part sticks up quite a lot, and I think that it will chafe the inside of the heat shielding. So I decided to go with these instead. And these are one-time use. We call them one ear here in Sweden, one ear hose clamps. And for that, We'll also have a special tool. Anyway, this one is used to clamp these down. So you kind of put it over like that, and you push it down, clamp it, and it'll pull it tight. And then you have a few varieties of sizes. These are all, everything here is stainless, by the way. I also bought one of these, this is for the flat band type of hose clamp. I don't have one of these, so I figured, why not? I was actually working on a car not long ago. I had a lot of these flat band hose clamps, and it kind of pissed me off that I didn't have one, so I decided to get one of those as well. Also got some of these. This was kind of a quick thing. I just bought it on the way out. It's a pick kit. Like, I've found myself in situations sometimes where I gotta get an O-ring out or something. I don't really have any good tool to get it out, so I decided to just buy those while running out of the store. So here we go. Some stuff from Biltema. Let's move on. All right, that quickly brings me on to the last package that we got, and this package should have been mentioned in the last video because it was actually a sponsored item for the last video, and it is the auxiliary belt for the T5 engine project over there. As you all know, I bought a kit from Gates from Autodoc. Gates is a brand, Autodoc is a store. They've sent me the correct thing. I've ordered the wrong thing. So I ordered the 6PK1250 belt, which turned out to be a little bit too short. I should have ordered the 6PK1270 belt, which is slightly longer. I didn't know, now I know. So if you're doing this conversion, 6PK1270 is the belt you want to go with. Big shout out to skrivat.se for sending me the right belt and the right brand as well, because I wanted the same brand. I didn't want to go with another brand for some reason, you know, OCD and stuff. So thank you, Skrivat, for helping me with my OCD. That's great. 2 days, got the belt, no issues, fits perfectly. Now we can move on. All right, guys, so let's get started with the water. We're gonna pull the water in and the water, actually we're gonna prepare for water in, and we're gonna actually do the water out, and I think we can also do the oil feed line to the top, but we cannot do the return line today because I still got a few things to do here. Let me show you. All right, so this is the plan. This is an aluminum, this is a Weldon AN10. You're supposed to weld on this if you want to. You can put this anywhere you'd like on an aluminum piece, but I want it in this aluminum block, okay? So we're gonna put that there. Obviously that doesn't fit very good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this up in the lathe, turn this thing down to the same diameter as this, which is like 19.9 or something. And I can just kind of whack this in there, put some goo on it and call it a day. We won't be needing this hole ever again for anything other than oil return line. Yes, AN10 might not be the biggest return line, but I mean, I guess you could break this off if it's a press fit. You know, it's not impossible. We're not welding it on there. Anyway, that's the plan. Get this on there in some way. Once that is on there, we're gonna have the stock piece that goes on here. I don't have that with me at the moment. It's a steel pipe that goes from here all the way till here. But since we've turned the turbo around, it no longer fits in any way, shape, or form. So, but what we can do is use a small piece of it. So we'll use like, I don't know, 10 centimeters or something. And then we'll weld this steel piece onto the steel pipe. And then this, we'll screw onto here. Okay, see where I'm going with this? And then we got that one right there. And then we got a short piece of pipe going in between here. I just don't want the hose to be anywhere near this heat zone right here. And I mean, we clear it pretty good. Yeah, let's say we'll just use a centimeter or something with the stock piece right there. Anyway, that's the thought I've got anyway. Yes, it's a bit over-engineered, I get it. I mean, I could have done this a lot simpler, but at least I'm doing something. That's the thing. When you don't know what you're doing, just do something, okay? So you can move along. This is 12 millimeters, by the way. So it's called an M12 banyo. And this one will just be on here, like so. We're obviously gonna have gaskets in here. I don't have any aluminum gaskets right now, so it's gonna have to be a copper one. And I got a last minute package from Do 88. Now in this package, we should have, I think it's a couple of hoses. That is custom made by this company for the T5 engine swap, but it's not custom made for me, but it's custom made for the T5 engine swap since it's so popular. Here's a hose, must be the bottom radiator hose. And then we have this one, which is the top radiator hose. It's pretty long. I guess you could use it for a 4-cylinder, 5-cylinder, or 6-cylinder, but I'm not sure, so I'm not gonna say that that's the case. And this is the hose to the expansion tank and for the turbo cooling. And I can see now that that is straight. That is a little bit of a problem, but I guess it's actually quite bendable. I don't think that'll be a problem. And then this will go to the radiator. Let's see, I think that'll fit pretty good on the turbo there. So the expansion tank will be somewhere around there. And then that will go to the radiator, somewhere over there. And then this will go on here. That is the general idea anyway. We'll see if that works in reality when we get there, because we'll do this piece when we get into the car. But it looks like it's gonna work. Got some space on there. Yeah, it might not be ideal that this thing is so close to the turbo. Might want it to kind of go out a little bit, but I think we'll be fine. I mean, it will be water cooled all the time, and we're gonna have the heat capsule on there, so I think it'll work. Can I see the problem here? Got this one right here. It needs to go to here. Should we pull it below the turbo or above the turbo? Like so, below. Generally, I think we should avoid making like an air pocket, which would be if we put it that way. If I would have done this today, I most likely would have taken this, turned it upside down, and welded it to here, having it come out right here. Maybe even weld it into here or something. Just pull this straight down. Oh, yeah, that's what I would do today. But I didn't do that, so we're gonna have to work with this. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and send this one downwards. All right, I noticed I hadn't pushed the audio record button, so there was no audio there. What I said was I'm a little bit concerned. Will this be able to be here if this is red hot? I'm not sure, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. We're just gonna have to do some pulls with the hood off and see what happens. I'm gonna get some zip ties made of steel, get this looking a little bit better. Just zip tie these together, like so. All right, so let's do the oil and feed line. All right, so moving on to the turbo head, the last item of today. This is held in place by a couple of stainless springs. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna wet this thing. Just put it in a bath of water. I mean, it can take some water, that's not a problem. Now it'll be a little bit more fun to handle. All right, so let's get over to the car. All right, so a tiny problem with this turbo in particular is that, you know, we don't have an external wastegate. It's an internal wastegate. So we're gonna have to make a hole for this little guy. Usually, you know, you don't have heat shielding things on turbos of this tiny, tiny size. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, but here's the idea anyway. Gonna put it on something like that. I mean, the fitment isn't 100%, but at least it'll encapsulate the worst of it. But we gotta make a hole here for the wastegate. And we're not gonna be too exact with it. I mean, you just gotta kind of roughly get it in place. Mark a little hole where the axle comes out, and then we'll cut a little hole through the heat shield here. I think I'm gonna just try it like with a pair of pliers, and we'll see where we wind up. And that's the glass fiber I'm talking about. Don't want that all over the place.